Hi, everyone, and welcome in again to another episode of the Level Playing Field podcast. I'm Andrew Cardos, along with my co-host Dennis Atia, and we have a fantastic show for you today. Dennis, why don't you give us a breakdown of what we're talking about?
It's a fantastic thing. I would tell you crazy, crazy stuff. Last year, we all forget very quickly, we had some confused people sing at the Olympics and mock our Lord and Savior, right? So the Olympics got punched in the mouth. The men and women across the world protested the Olympics and didn't watch the Olympics for the first time since I can remember. I didn't watch the Olympics for that reason. Okay, Now we got the NFL, of course, the most controversial professional sports league. Now I guess this witch, what's her name again?
Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift. This Taylor Swift is getting old, so now they want Bad Bunny. Who the heck is Bad Bunny? All the bands, these great bands we have in America, gospel, country, Christian, rock and roll, soul, jazz, you name it, blues. We have all these great folk. We have all these great bands in this great country that we live in, and they want Bad Bunny to sing at the Super Bowl. So what I would tell you all is do the same thing that everybody did worldwide for the Olympics. Don't watch and start now. Tell the NFL that we want American singers that sing American, not some controversial Bad Bunny of sort. And then we're going to get into, of course, Andrew, these bust outs. Like we have been talking about. They're paying these quarterbacks. The University of Pittsburgh, my alma mater, $1.7 million. I can't forget his name. His last name's Holstein because I'm a farmer. So how can you forget the name Holstein, right? So Holstein gets paid $1.7 million. He didn't even start. A freshman who's getting no money started and led Pitt to they beat up on Boston College. Pretty good. So I would tell you, and then let's look at Texas. Okay, this big namesake, Manning lost, and Penn State, of course, the superstar quarterback. They can't beat anybody with a winning record, Texas or Pitt. So the point I'm making to you is we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in detail. And 25,000. Listen, Andrew got this number. 25,000 foreigners competing in the NCAA. 25,000, staggering. Okay, so great show today, Andrew. And I would tell you, it's all great stuff. And we Andrew and I, man, we sacrifice and we're doing this for our children, most importantly, and for yous. We want to be a source when it comes to athletics that you come to us and go, man, these guys, we're like the Tucker Carlson and all these other great podcasters that are out there of the sports world. So let's roll, Andrew. Let's give them a great show. Great.
Just bringing the truth, and it's not a narrative. It's just actually what's going on out there, and it's very confusing. It's very confusing. So starting off where we're going to jump into this pool with the NFL. The Super Bowl halftime show has, gone downhill, to say the least. I don't think I'm being too controversial when I say that. What did we just say off camera? The couple years, like 10 or so years ago, it's Paul McCartney performing with a piano in center field, and just absolute class and dignity and a fantastic performance. And now it's, morphed into Bad Bunny. I don't know what Bad Bunny is. I don't know what that means.
Listen, the greatest thing about our country is the free speech, right?
God bless them. And listen, make your money, do anything. The music industry, it is what it is. If people want to listen. But I think that the NFL, as a business model, the NFL is just controversy. They want you to talk about it. And I go back and forth because right now, what are we doing? We're talking about the NFL. We're talking about something that's not happening until February, but it's there. Everything generates money. And that is, they worship the almighty dollar. And if it creates dollar bills, then they don't care how much controversy or who likes it or who doesn't, because at the end of the day, they're still getting paid, and they want those young eyeballs, just like how they do, the Nickelodeon game or whatever. It's not about what's going on the field anymore. It's not about the sports. It's not about the camaraderie of the team. It's about the graphics that the guy gets tackled and like gets slimed all over, and it's it's this world of instant gratification where you've got to be locked in at all times. You can't. You're looking at your phone. You're looking at the screen. You're looking at your computer. Money, money, money.
It's the
Every
almighty
single
dollar. It's the almighty
you
dollar,
got
Andrew.
you
You
got ads running while the game's running. I was watching. I've been kind of tuned out on baseball this year, but the Phillies are in the playoffs, so I turned it on the other day. They got logos on the side of the helmets now. I was just like, it's never going to stop. It's literally never going to stop.
Look. I want to, man. I want to retouch on the whole
Yeah.
gambling too, man. That was a great
Mm-hmm.
show. Our last show was a great show, but it relates to this whole Bad Bunny, and these these confused Olympic, whatever you want to call them, that put on this absurd display during the opening ceremony of the Olympics. And I would tell you, it seemed to bother the wrestlers. We had our worst wrestling Olympic first time in forever that we didn't have a gold medal winner in the Olympics, but in wrestling. But what I would tell you is our medal count was down. I think it affected the morale of all the athletes. I mean, come on, how of all these great international musicians that we have, how could you let these confused people put on some sort of whatever it was and mock Jesus, the greatest human being that ever lived? Now here we have the NFL, Andrew, the NFL doing something similar. We just had this legendary young Christian, Charlie Kirk, who's trying to reach out to the to the youth, and be a good witness and a good example to them. And God rest his soul, and his movement's still continuing on. And now rather than the NFL putting somebody, American, who's conservative and maybe godly, to try to match that, what they do is they put on some freak who's controversial, doesn't even sing in, I don't believe he sings. Does he sing in English? I mean,
Right.
I don't know.
No, it's all Spanish.
He sings in, I mean, and listen, man.
And I hear it. I hear the NFL. I can hear it like in my ears. Grow the game. It's a world game. We got games in London. We got games in Brazil. And I just thought of this. It's the exact playbook of any empire that's ever been on the earth, right? Romans, British. What do? They start off as a unified front. They go out, they conquer all these other lands, and then what do? They overextend themselves, and they forget about Rome, and they forget about Britain, and it crumbles from the inside out.
You're right on. Their fan base is 100% against it. No different than all the Olympic guys. They were so insulted by it. And for them, and look, man, I love Spanish people. I like Spanish food. I mean, their culture is great. Don't get me wrong, but man, this is an American sport. It's an American game. You understand? And the American men, mostly men, the majority of the men that people that watch the sport are men, because American football is exclusive to America. I mean, in Canada they have the CFL, but no other country has football. Compared to every sport.
Yeah,
hockey,
no level comparable to
you
this.
name it. They have every other sport all over the world, but football is our sport. It's an American sport and a Canadian sport. And how dare they defile it with having an individual who sings? He doesn't even sing. He doesn't even sing in English, and he doesn't sing about America. So the point I'm making is, it's all about the almighty dollar, Andrew. And here, going back to last year when Buffalo was playing Kansas City, and the Buffalo head football coach, a friend of mine from Quakertown, Pennsylvania, here, right next to Lehigh County. He's a great guy. Worked out with me great athlete himself, tough guy, was a wrestler. But
Mm-hmm.
the point I'm making is, you had Buffalo. Buffalo didn't have that witch dating the quarterback or the tight end. Had
Mm-hmm.
she been dating the quarterback or the tight end for the Buffalo Bills would have won.
Mm-hmm.
And having this Bad Bunny sing at the Super Bowl is my proof. It
Mm-hmm.
just proves the point. Do you understand? And in that last podcast that we did, which was awesome, you guys want to watch that too. The proof is in the pudding, in that the owners, we never talked about this, and I wanted to. The owners are the ones who hire the refs.
Mm-hmm.
They're at now. Is that sick? The NFL owners
It's a snake
are
eating its own
are,
tail.
are are the ones who hire the refs. So if it's in the NFL's best interest for the Kansas City Chiefs to win, and those owners decide that that's what's in their best interest, I'm sure that those referees are being briefed by somebody.
Yep.
One of their cronies is going in and saying, "Hey, let the game go, and if the Chiefs are winning on their own, let them win. But if they're
Mm-hmm.
not, you got to make sure the Chiefs win, because that's in all the owners' best interest.
Mm-hmm.
That's in the TV ratings. That's what's best for the NFL and all the owners of the NFL and the players of the NFL, because that's how we can pay them these big contracts. That's how we get these big viewerships. We need.
We like to sit here. We like to sit here and think. We like to sit here and think that on Sundays, what really matters is what's playing out on the field, because that's what makes us feel good as former players, as former coaches, athletes, anything. You want to feel like the guys on the field have the say in what's actually going on. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if the Eagles win, if the Bengals win, if the Patriots win. Doesn't matter. The owners win at the end of the day, because they're getting checks. They win before the season even starts. They sign those TV deals. They know that money's coming in. They don't care, and it's all pride and everything besides that.
And you're right. And the only way they keep winning is if their viewership's up.
Bingo.
That's the only way they keep winning. If their viewership goes down, then guess what? Then they lose, because they don't get the big contracts. Then the owners lose, the players lose, because they can't pay some idiot $40 million to tackle a guy, for God's sake. Do you understand?
I always say this, and as far as
I shouldn't have called the guy an idiot. Let me take that back. God bless him. He's an athlete. The Packers were dumb enough to give a guy $40 million to tackle somebody. God bless him. That's their prerogative. But staying on the NFL, Andrew, okay?
Yep.
It's all about the TV ratings. It's all about, and listen, we've been talking about things that Congress should be doing, right? There's a couple bills that I see advertised. I've been watching, only because of you and I doing this show. I've been watching the Big Ten Network and the ACC Network a little bit to watch these various sports that are going on. But I seen a bill being proposed. Pass bill so-and-so or pass bill so-and-so. No, don't pass any bills right now. They need to incorporate a bill that is going to transform the NCAA, because when you hear what Andrew's got to tell you guys about the NCAA, you're going to fall over. But just the last point on the NFL here, right?
Yep.
The other thing that needs to stop immediately, they need independent referees, okay, for the integrity of the game, outside the NFL's control, outside the owner's control, to call the games. Do you understand? And just to finish, the idiot who chose whatever his name, that commissioner, Goodall or Godall or Goat, I should call him a Goat-all. He's a goat. You understand? How dare he pick a guy that don't even speak English, I guess, to sing at the Super Bowl? But that's the same guy that is changing all the rules in the NFL and in college football and the like, getting back to straightening out the powers that be. The guy never wore a jockstrap in his life, and he's changing the rules of the NFL. He's hiring the officials. The officials go through him. He's in charge of all that. And in all honesty, they started a show at the end of the year, like with these players that get it's almost like Hollywood. So what they're doing, moving into the NIL now, is they're trying to make football in general, into a predictable
Mhm.
show business. Like, let's go right
Yeah.
to Manning. Let's go right
So
to
here,
Manning.
so here's what it is, and this is the perfect tie-in from one to the next. So I always say this: if you're upset, it comes time to vote for president or any governor, any type of election, and you're not happy with it, and you want to yell and scream from the rooftops about election fraud and all that kind of stuff. There is one guaranteed way to make your point be heard, and no one will ever question it, and that is how you spend your money, and that is where you put your eyeballs. That is your most powerful thing that you have. You stop giving them your dollar bills. What happens when DirecTV loses 50% of their viewership? What happens when the NFL tickets don't get sold? What happens? I'll tell you what happens. It changes. These guys don't have any morals. They will do exactly what makes them money, and the second it doesn't make them money, they switch, and that's it. So moving over into college, which is the perfect example of like absolute lawlessness and no morality, no guidance,
The
no
NCAA,
strategy whatsoever.
the NCAA never wore a jockstrap, making
Yeah.
millions of dollars. They never wore a jockstrap, Andrew. These
So
people.
now moving in, so we're talking about these kids. So now we're 6 weeks in, right? 6, 7 weeks into the football season. This is the first year, starting in I forget the actual, was it August or July? I forget when the actual bill passed, but this is the first year that colleges can pay athletes straight up. Dollar bills, checks are going to these athletes. It's everywhere. You can't escape it. It's not just NIL, like well, the local car dealership wants to put him on a billboard. He's going to get an extra $500 every month. We're not talking about that. We are talking millions of dollars. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I mean, personally, I think there is a dramatic effect on on-field play. These kids are stressed, and you can see it. You can see how Arch Manning, I'm sure he's an amazing person from an amazing family. The Mannings, I have a friend who has one of his clients is from down in Louisiana, and kind of doesn't know the family, but like in the community, and he's like, they are a 5-star family. They're great people, but the high school that he plays at is a 1-star high school. And he is not, he said, he told me this before the whole everything started with the season. And he goes, he's not ready for it. If he was ready for it as a 5-star kid coming out of high school, he would have started 2 years ago. He would have started as a freshman. He's not. He didn't. So now coming in, it's just like this guy's showing up on Warby Parker ads before he's even thrown a pass. And now you don't think that doesn't mess with a 20-year-old kid's mind? Now you got all that pressure, that level, like we all have that negative self-talk, right?
I
It's in all of us. Now you got to use that, and you got to hear that just in your own head. But now you know that you go on ESPN, you go on CBS, Fox, everything is like, well, he's a bust. He's a bust. He's never going to go anywhere. This is the worst Manning out of the whole family, blah, blah, blah. That can ruin a normal person's life, let alone someone who's like, an absolute athlete, groomed the whole way. He is getting ripped on every single level. So
Well,
I feel bad for him.
here's what I would tell you. My older brother George was big time LSU athlete. He's a 4-year starter at LSU. He's still to this day the only 4-year starter as a defensive lineman at LSU. Big time guy. The
Mhm.
Mannings were big time when I was down there hanging out. My other brother Joe wrestled at LSU. Was an Olympian, All American at LSU. So Louisiana, look, man, it's a great state for football, but you're only as good as, this is what one of my brother George is saying. You're only as good as your next performance.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're getting $1 million plus and you're being seen and getting TV contracts to run ads and all these other various things, it's a distraction, Andrew. You know, the men and women that are making these decisions for the NCAA and these people in these, I mean, they're out of their minds. Again,
Oh, nice.
never wore a jockstrap, never competed, right? They don't know the focus that it takes and the hunger. There's got to be an inner hunger when you're competing in. I don't care what the sport is. You were a lacrosse guy. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
was a football wrestling guy. What I'm trying to tell you, if there's not an inner hunger that exists that you want to accomplish something, you have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? You aren't going to be, you aren't going to reach your full potential. So Manning, right? So
Mm-hmm.
Manning, that's a prime example. Okay, so he might have the ability that his uncle had, and
Mm-hmm.
his great uncle had. You
Mm-hmm.
understand? But you know, because of all of this money and attention and the like, he doesn't have that chip on his shoulder like this little kid that showed up at Pitt, moving over to Pitt. So
Mm-hmm.
so Pitt, I mean, Holstein's the quarterback at the University of Pittsburgh, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I can't forget the name because I'm a farmer. Holstein is
Mm-hmm.
is a big, you know, our
Mm-hmm.
milk, our dairy cows, you know, our Holsteins, and jerseys too, but
Mm-hmm.
some other breeds too. There's all over the world they have milk breeds, but in America, the Holstein name is huge because. So I was cheering for the kid. Oh, Holstein, man, he must
Mm-hmm.
the name. Well, but I was out at a function for Fode Fazio, my former coach, and I was talking with some of the guys out there in the athletic department, and they're telling me the guy made $1.7 million. Well, guess what? They put some little freshman there not making a penny against Boston College this past week, right?
Mm-hmm.
He lit it up. He lit it up. Why? He's hungry. He wants to prove himself. The guys rally behind him. Oh, he ain't making $1.7 million. The jealousy factor. Guys
Mm-hmm.
think in the back of their heads, what the hell is this guy making $1.7 million for when I'm working just as hard or harder? That Dan Marino factor I told you about.
Mm-hmm.
Not, you got to share it. You got to spread it out. They got to rethink the whole NIL, getting back to talking to your politicians, talking
Yep.
to your universities. You got to air yourselves out. You got to make it into a conversation. I'm
It's
going
got
to
to
meet
be
with,
restructured. It's got to
yeah,
be just like you said. Just got to be restructured, just like in the NFL. There's a collective bargaining agreement. Everyone agrees that this is what we're going to do. So, like, okay, so let's say the guy from Pitt, 1.7 million this year, right? Is he a senior or is he
I
still
don't
got
know what
eligibility?
year he's in. I don't think he's a senior.
Okay, so let's say he's got 1 or 2 years left eligibility with a red shirt. So let's say, okay, he gets beat out. He can transfer. He's going to bank 1.7 million because he got a contract. I'm assuming he's getting paid. If he gets benched or not, he's going to get that money. So now he takes 1.7 million. Let's say he transfers to, I don't know,
He's
lower
from
tier.
Louisiana. I know he's from.
Yeah.
He's a Baton Rouge. He's a Baton Rouge boy. So
Okay. So
he is from Louisiana. The boy.
So why doesn't he? Let's like go to like wherever, like a Tulsa or somewhere like that, lower tier school. Maybe he makes 500,000. Maybe he's not making 1 million, but he's making $500,000. That's over 2 million for a career
Which is too
for
much.
doing for
Which
doing
is
for
way
doing
too much.
nothing, nothing.
Yes, what he needs to do is make zero, like all of them. They all need to make the same amount. We talked about this.
Well,
Okay,
that's the other
who is
thing.
he? Who is he? He's an amateur athlete, just
Hmm.
like the other 100 guys. And I don't care if he's a superstar or not. You
Yep.
know, every
And
one
that's
of them need to share and make something on an equal playing field. That's what the name of our show. It's got to be a
and that's
level playing
it's
field,
got
man.
to be a level
Not,
playing field.
not
And that's the
just
other thing is he can leave. There's no contract. They have a 1 year contract. Everyone's on a 1 year deal. That's insane. You'd never in the NFL. No, that's like the whole thing is no one wants to pay a guy on a 1 year deal because he can walk. That's the whole thing. It's crazy. This whole
listen.
premise of like dropping all this money and then poof,
Let them
gone.
all walk. Let them all walk into the
It's
NFL. Get
crazy.
rid of them. You understand? They're
Yeah.
all turning into bust outs, just like we talked
Yep.
about. Now let's go to your alma mater. They're up
Uh,
there, big time. Oh yeah, they're this, they're that, and they're all
they're
patting
not.
themselves on the back, making big money. Listen to me. Listen to me. Imagine all those great teams of the '70s and '80s up in State College with
Yeah.
you name the guys, Leo
All of them.
Wisniewski and Matt Millen, wrestlers. I'm going to mention wrestlers' name.
Mm-hmm.
The Sueys, all great wrestlers. Imagine
Mm-hmm.
those guys up there with an $18 million payroll. Imagine that. Or let's go to University of Pittsburgh in the 70s and 80s with, you name them, Dorsett,
Oh,
Marino,
Hall of Fame
Jimbo
factory.
Culver, Bill Fralick, all those guys, all my former teammates. Imagine $10 million. I think the Pitt budget's like $10 million.
Yeah.
Imagine those teams. Imagine those teams in them days and how great they were and how many national championships Pitt and Penn State were winning. We were ranked number one in the country 3 years that I was there. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Now, Pitt hasn't been ranked number one in the country since I've been there. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying to you? And this money is only making them worse. You understand? In the last 10 or 12 games, they might have beat two teams, or everyone was losing records, and they were all like Division I AA schools. Same thing with State College. Who'd they beat? Who have they beat this year? They want to fill these guys up with cash,
Nobody.
throw all kind of money at them, and they haven't beaten anybody.
No,
So
I'm
the
done.
point, the
I'm done with the
0-4,
whole thing.
0-4 UCLA just beat them.
I'm
So
done.
the point is, Andrew, you and I are 100% correct. Money
Yeah.
is ruining these kids. They need to
Got
get
to
rid of that
remember.
money and make it an even and a level playing field, just like our show says. That's what they need to do. So you need to call. You need to, and let me tell you one other thing that bothered me about
Mm-hmm.
about the fans up in State College when they lost to Oregon. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
man, I played up there, 100,000+ people. We beat them. They beat us. Uh, and my junior year, we beat them up there. We beat them pretty good. I think we beat them
Mm-hmm.
by 2 or 3 touchdowns. And great place, man. A great
Mm-hmm.
place to play. Great environment. But for those fans to boo those kids, that made me sick. You
It's
understand?
different
All of the Penn State greats are rolling over in their grave. Hey, you just need to get it together now.
because
That
that's
was
what
pathetic.
happens.
It was embarrassing to the country. That was a nationally televised game. To think our Pennsylvania fans, okay, are booing the kids. Come on
Mm-hmm.
now, we're better than that. So
And that's
use
it's different. It's a whole nother thing now because you're paying them. They're professionals. I don't feel bad when you're making millions of dollars. You're on a pedestal. People see you as a different level. You're not a college kid anymore. You're not someone who's eating ramen noodles in their dorm. And I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm saying that's how people see it, and it's messed up. But that's the truth of the matter. When they need to straighten this out because it's ruining college sports across the board. What do
it's
we
the
love
almighty
about college
dollar.
sports?
You take that team and you take the money away from that team,
Yep.
and you just let them play on that
Let 'em play.
Pennsylvania that Pennsylvania pride, those great schools, the University of Pittsburgh and Penn State, and even Temple. A friend of mine's down there from Emmaus. He's the head coach at Temple now. We're going to start
Mm-hmm.
bringing them up a little bit too.
Mm-hmm.
But I would tell you, take the money away. They'd be better, which
Yeah.
supports every single thing that we've been talking about. Is you give a kid $1 million or $100,000 on
Mm-hmm.
campus,
Mm-hmm.
in this day and age. We know all about the bust out professional athletes over the years, right? But now
Mm-hmm.
they're giving 18 and 19-year-olds hundreds of thousands and millions of dollars, Andrew. This is what they're getting. And Andrew and I have warned everybody and told everybody they're going to hurt the kids more than help them. So they need to stop. You alumni, if you're watching us, if you're watching us in Maine or California or in
Mm-hmm.
Florida, Louisiana, or up here in Pennsylvania and everywhere in between, this is happening in every one of our states,
Every
and
single
it
one.
needs to be addressed. The NFL was televising their games in your state, and they're
Mm-hmm.
going to have some singer who God only knows who he is or what he's singing about to go ahead and sing. And don't watch the NFL. Tell them that, okay? It's an
And
insult.
so,
Listen, this guy Charlie Kirk just gave his life. He was just murdered
mm-hmm.
for godliness and respect and decency. You would think that they would follow up with something, just some good American, singer. But no, they put another freak
On the
show on,
water.
and I shouldn't use that word. Some confused singer on that's going to insult us and insult the people watching. Listen,
Mhm.
say no. Tell your alumni when they call you. No, no, I'm not giving you a penny because what we're about ready to share to you guys, you're gonna
Mhm.
fall over. If you
I
hear what's going on, if you hear what's going on with the Olympic sports, okay,
mhm.
at our universities, Andrew's going to give you some statistics. You're going to fall over. So get ready for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
So final thought on that. I'll put my hand up. This is my own life. I was gonna go. I'm gonna go. I was gonna plan on to go up to a few Penn State games at the later part of the year with a few of my friends. I'm not going. It's not worth it. I'm not giving. And it's beside the point that they're bad and all that. I don't believe in what they're doing anymore. The money aside, like I don't want to give the university the money. I don't want to give the football program the money and the attendance. It's like, what are we doing? The whole thing's falling apart right before your eyes. And I don't, it's, if you want to say it's a coincidence, but like it looks like there's a lot of coincidences going on around the whole country. You know what I mean? There's a lot of guys that weren't supposed to be good this year that are outplaying their predictions. But why is that? It's because there's no pressure on them. They might be making some money. They might have like an NIL deal, but they don't have that national pressure. They don't have that big $5 million price tag on their head. They might be making a couple bucks, but at the same time, that deal signed, they can play their way into, like, if you're a junior, you have a great season, go to the NFL, make your money. That's how it should be. But to come in with that humongous price tag on your head and say national title or bust, national TV, big money down the line, and now I think we talked about this before, but how now the whole strategy of your program goes from, okay, well, we're paying our players right now, we're not paying the recruits. Now you're shifting the whole dynamic of your program from future to present, and now you're not, if you don't perform, you could set your program, your school back 5 years just because they can't get that good recruiting class in to bolster what you're supposed to be. They can't get the 5-star kid because they're paying you the extra money because you came back anyway. That's it.
Speaking of
I
that,
could
no,
I
no.
could talk about that all day
Speaking of
long.
that, I'm glad you brought that up because the other thing
Yeah.
that really upset me about State College, about Penn State. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
look, the coach, he played at East Stroudsburg. He wrestled. He was
Yeah.
roommates with a friend of mine, uh,
Mm-hmm.
who was a wrestling coach at Pitt, Jason
Mm-hmm.
Peters. So he roomed with a friend of mine. I mean, he was an average athlete. God bless him, but he
Mm-hmm.
worked hard. And
Mm-hmm.
now,
He's a
and
hard worker. I'll give it to him.
look, I cheer for the guy. He's a Pennsylvania guy. He's
Mm-hmm.
went to East Stroudsburg and he's up there and he's a big wrestling supporter. He's at all the wrestling
Mm-hmm.
matches up in State College, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm all for the guy. But look, he's got to get it in his head, man, that you can't put money in a guy's pocket or athlete's pocket and pat him on the back and say he's great
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
think that the kid's going to perform for you.
And I think,
It's his responsibility to keep the kids hungry and keep them
mhm,
focused and keep pushing them. And he hasn't done that. He's failed miserably. He's
it's
failed
so
miserably.
hard. It's
But
so hard, and I think that we see it as like, a lot of these coaches, like I think Nick Saban. I think Nick Saban's the smartest guy in all of college football right now because he has left as on the mountaintop. He was the greatest coach of all time, and he saw all this coming.
I
I
don't
can
know
tell
about
you
I
right
don't know
now,
about I don't know about of all time, but he was one of them. Bear
he's up
Bryant
there.
has
He's listen. What did I was watching College Game Day this weekend. Theo Von's like the Alabama's the house that Bear Bryant built, and Nick Saban remodeled it.
yeah.
But he left right before all this hit because he said, I'm not dealing with it. He
Yeah.
he saw the writing on the wall, and he's like, it's just different. You can't be the leader, the father figure, the hard nosed football coach that's able to win how many national champions? He has 6, 7 national championships. Who
I'm
knows?
not
He was in
sure.
he was in the national title like every single year for 20 years.
I'm not
But
sure,
like
but
he
I
can't do
know.
that anymore. It's
Well,
over.
listen, I know from a history perspective, Yale has the most national championships in front of Alabama, and Princeton, and I believe
Hmm.
Princeton and
Yep.
one of the other ones are up there
Yale.
too. But that's just from a
Yep.
historical perspective. But what I would say to
Hmm.
you, what I would say to you is that the money is clearly ruining the kids and it's ruining the sports
Yeah.
and the fans. Like you just said, man, that's great that you did that. Look. My buddies are all going to the Pitt Notre Dame game and they're saying, "Oh, come on out, come on out." No, no, I'm not going to go to the game. You understand? I'm not going for
Hmm.
this garbage. Even though Notre Dame's doing it, they're all doing it. And all listen. And what's Notre
Everyone's
Dame doing?
doing it.
They have two losses already. Two losses. I mean, look. When I played, if you had one loss, we were 11-1, and Clemson ended up winning the national championship. We beat number one Georgia with
Hmm.
Herschel Walker in the Sugar Bowl, and we
Hmm.
we, we didn't have a chance. So with one loss, now I mean, how many teams? There are two losses, and the guys got tens of millions of dollars at their disposal now, and they're worse. Notre Dame's worse than they were in the past. Do you understand?
Hmm.
When Joe
Oh yeah.
Moore was coaching there with Lou Holtz, they won their last national championship at Notre Dame, right? With
Hmm.
what? The guys didn't make a penny. Half of that team are friends of mine. I coach with them at the Joe Moore camp every summer
Yep.
out in Pittsburgh. That we raise money for the needy in Pittsburgh. But if you look at all of these great teams that had done great things for their universities and the
Hmm.
camaraderie, these guys all love each other. All those Notre Dame guys, they hang out, and it's great to see them. After this many years, they're all great friends, and they're all hanging out. Same thing with the Pitt guys. I mean, they all hang.
Hmm.
And same thing with the Penn State guys. You go across the country, the greatest value, Andrew, the greatest value is the friendships,
Hmm.
and the
Absolutely.
camaraderie and the stories that you tell. What they're doing now with these kids, they're putting them all over the place in this transfer portal. They're paying them money. Those young guys aren't going to have those great stories and those friendships. Like Christ
Hmm.
states, look, the greatest thing a man can do is to lay down his life for a friend. That's the greatest man who ever spoke, who did that for us. And look, me and Andrew, we do these shows,
Hmm.
man, for you guys. I fast and pray every show, and I hope that the message that we're giving to you are feeling it, man, because we feel it. And I want you to feel it and go out there and put your foot down. Don't watch the NFL. Don't go to your college games. When they call you to raise money, say, no, no, I'm against what's going on. And for God's sake, fans, don't boo the kids, man. You can't blame the kids. This is getting forced on them by these idiots in the NCAA. No different than I make fun of these NFL people that never wore a jock strap. He's choosing who's singing at a Super Bowl, which is going to insult half of America, I believe, or more, right? And if it doesn't insult them, why not accommodate them? It's a rough year. We lost a great kid. The country mourned this Charlie Kirk's death. We're in a battle. The economy's not good. We're in trade wars and these stupid wars that are going all over the world. Why not make the people happy? Put on a good Paul McCartney or somebody who everybody's familiar with and goes, oh yeah, that's great. We're going to watch that game and we're going to be able to watch it and settle and see what does or doesn't happen. Why put someone on who's controversial? The people have had enough. If you can watch what's going on, but no, you're making what's he make $4 or $5 million to be the commissioner of the NFL? I mean, for God's sake,
Oh, I think
the,
I think he's making more than that. I
more
think he's
than
making
that,
40.
it's sick. It's sick. And then
Yeah.
let's go to the NCAA. They're making millions of dollars, and they've ruined the NCAA football. And now let's go into what let's go. I watch. I told you I've been watching the ACC network, and I've been watching volleyball. My daughters played Division I volleyball. One of them did. One of them was
Roger
a
Goodell
senior.
makes 63.9 million. There you go.
Oh my God. That
Yeah.
idiot makes $63 million. That's a sin. It's a true sin. That guy is
Yep.
totally out of tune with reality. I
No,
mean,
he's
I
on
mean,
another planet.
that is sick. That is truly sick. But anyway,
Yep. That's
but
real.
anyway, and listen. Let them know. Like Andrew, Andrew's not going to go up. I didn't go to my. I'm not going to the Pitt Notre Dame game. I'm not gonna.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna shut it down. They stink anyway. I don't want to watch them get their beat. So it's painful to me. The last time Pitt played Notre Dame, the last time they were number one ranked, Pitt, was when I was on that team, and we lost to them. We were number one in the country in Pittsburgh, and they snuck in there with this little running back by the name of Pinkett. Pinkett was his name. Andrew, you weren't even born, Andrew. But anyway,
Before my time.
This little running back snuck in and beat us. We were number one in the country. We were undefeated, number one team in the country. He snuck in, they beat us. But they're back in Pittsburgh. I'm not going to go to the game for what? To watch them get their beat and watch millionaires pass and catch balls. And it ruins, like you had just said, it ruins your great memories that you have about this rivalry between Pitt and Notre Dame. And that's what Goodall's good at, ruining the NFL, fixing games, I believe, I mean, how does Kansas City win that game last year? Just watch that game. Watch that game. Watch the rerun of that game and just watch it. Should not have. I mean, it's very evident. So the point, and the guys that are doing that gambling, there was a bunch of postings here, there, and where. Oh, we can't prove it. We can't prove that the NFL owners are betting on games or the players are betting on games. No, dummies. Listen, they're not betting on the games, but they're making billions. They're making billions because their TV ratings. Their TV ratings are going off the roof because they want some witch who's and again I mentioned it. You can't let your daughters listen to that witch. She's brainwashing them. She's the devil herself.
Here's what it is.
They want some witch. They want some witch and her little pupils of followers and brainwashed kids to watch the Super Bowl. No different than they want big Bad Bunny or whatever his name is to watch because they want all these people to come and watch the game and the fans we're gonna watch Eyeballs. We're gonna watch it and listen to somebody singing a foreign language. Come on, bro. It's an insult.
That's what it is. So the owners
last year,
the normal people. Yeah, go for it.
Just one more point, Andrew. And I'm sorry, buddy. Last year, I predicted
no, you want to roll. Go for it.
That the Philadelphia Eagles were going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs 2 weeks, a week before the game. We had a little show, and it's here. It's on record. So I predicted that and everybody asked me. The guys asked me. I said, well, because Philadelphia is a Democratic stronghold. I'm an independent, right? I'm an independent. But Philadelphia is a Democratic stronghold. The state of Pennsylvania is a Democratic stronghold. They had just gotten embarrassed in the election a couple months before, and I said they were going to fix the game to let Philadelphia get some momentum back and the state of Pennsylvania to get some momentum back. And lo and behold, the quarterback from the Kansas City Chiefs couldn't complete a pass. You know what I'm saying to you in the game. Now I wonder who had a talking to him, who, what, when, or how, or so forth and so on. And the point I'm making to you, is the NFL needs to get humbled. The NCAA needs to be humbled. And the only way we're going to do it, Andrew, is what you just said. Turn that TV off. Don't go up to the games. Your eyes. Don't put your eyes on them and watch. They'll get a strong message, no different than those idiots that run the Olympic Committee and those people that televise it got a real strong message about what they should or shouldn't do during the open ceremonies. And I promise you, this next Olympics out in Los Angeles, it'll be a whole different ball game. They won't have some confused people or anything because they learned a hard lesson. So what we pray and hope for is that all of you folks that are listening from coast to coast, south to north, okay, get your senses together and just turn it off. Turn it off.
Yep.
Don't donate. Stop going.
I finish your point there. So what I was saying was these owners, like we were talking about gambling. Normal people gamble on the games. The owners aren't gambling on the games. They're gambling at a whole different level. They're gambling with eyeballs. They're, like I was saying, they're making their money in the off season. They're making their money well before the ball's kicked off. They've made all their plays, and they're sitting back and they're watching. They're hedging they hedge everything. They never lose. Nobody at that level loses money because they have bet on every single thing possible because they have enough and they can figure out the odds. And by the end of the day, they always come out ahead. The house never loses. We all know it. So, flipping over to our last topic here about international sports, international students. I want to
you guys hear these
one little
numbers?
anecdote.
Crazy
One little
numbers.
anecdote before I go into the numbers here. So when I was in college, this was me and my friends. We always loved saying this. We're like, listen, I love watching professional sports because you're watching human beings at the highest level perform, and they have all the nutrition. They have the exercise equipment. They're obviously like prime time peak athleticism of the human beings of the human race. When you're watching college sports, they're bigger than me. When I'm watching a Division I player, I'm not going to compete at that level. I can't. They're just larger human beings than I am. But when I come in to watch those games, I have a feeling of camaraderie with them. I'm saying to myself, okay, we're the same person. We're the same people. Like, I feel like a kindred spirit. I'm walking to class, you're walking to class. We're both passing each other on the sidewalk. I don't have any money in my bank account. You don't have any money in your bank account. We feel the same. Now, this is what I'm going to get into. I don't feel the same. I don't feel the same about money. I don't feel the same about the demographics that we're going into here. So when we're talking about international students and we're talking about the opportunities that are available at these colleges, we kind of touched on this, I think, a few weeks ago, but how the international students, it's all about opportunity. That's all college sports is. You have the opportunity to better yourself, to grow as an individual, and then after school, have a degree and have opportunities throughout the rest of your life that athletics can provide for you. Amazing. In college sports today, in the NCAA this year, there are 25,000 international student athletes.
Scholarship.
So let's play the numbers out here really quick. So we said this before, 60 million youth in America play sports at some level, some degree. Moving into high school, the numbers at every level obviously shrink. Competition rises, fewer teams, all of that. From 60 million youth sports, 8 million high schoolers play sports in America.
But
From
remember,
there, 530,000 kids then move on to college. That is 5 to 8%, depending on the year, go from high school to college. From college to professional sports, the NFL and NBA are fractions of a fraction, but across all sports, 2% make it to college. That means that 3 out of every 10,000 kids that play high school sports will go pro in whatever they're doing. That's the real numbers. Those are the real numbers that happen every single year. That's how slim the margins are to get to a professional level of any sport. Now, you want to take away 25,000 scholarships.
That's crazy.
25,000 opportunities from kids from America who parents go to the schools, kids go to the schools, alumni, everyone's supporting these colleges, these universities.
It's sick.
But then they're turning around and giving away 25,000. I mean, that sounds like you say like, okay, it's 5% of whatever, of 500,000 people.
The number is,
but it's not. It's 25,000 real lives could be changed, and they're not.
Oh my God.
And like your famous line, it's not the International Collegiate Athletic Association. It's the National Collegiate. So what's the point? Again, if you want to change the rules, change the rules. But do it.
People know.
Do it correctly.
But let the alumni know. Let the alumni know. Let the people know. Let the parents know. Let the fans know. I mean, hear that. You guys hear that? That when Andrew told me that this morning, thank God I didn't eat breakfast or lunch, because had I known that, I might have threw up. Do you understand? It is sickening
It's
to
crazy
think.
numbers.
Look, I watched. You know, I don't watch TV, man. I can't stand watching it because I get a headache from it. It's all garbage, even the
Mm-hmm.
sports. But I would tell you, my wife and I sat because I knew we were going to do this show. I sat and watched the ACC network and the Big Ten network, and I watched Pitt play soccer, and I watched Penn State play soccer, and I watched Pitt play volleyball, and Penn State play volleyball. You know, I'm just talking about our home state. Andrew and I are in Pennsylvania, guys, in case you haven't figured it out. But I know there's people
Mm-hmm.
watching us all over the country. But this applies to every single one of your universities, not just the big universities, the smaller universities too. They're taking
No, yeah, that number's
opportunities.
for D1, D2, D3. It's
Yeah.
everything across the board.
So what happens is me, for example, my daughters played volleyball, they played soccer, they were great competitors. You understand? We put them in clubs. They played in clubs. Do you know how much money it costs to sign up for a club? I know, Andrew, you're gonna talk about your friend here in a little bit, but I lived it.
Mm-hmm.
I lived it. So you invest this money, then the travel. My daughters were flying to Chicago and Florida and California. And one time they were supposed to go to Las Vegas. I canceled. I said, I'm not letting my daughter go to Las Vegas. That's the worst city in the world. You understand? What am I letting my daughter? And the coach got mad at me. The coach got mad at me. I said, I'm not letting my daughter go to Las Vegas. Are you crazy? You understand?
That's
But anyway, it's hard when you're truthful. People don't like you when you're truthful, Andrew. But anyway,
mm-hmm.
and my daughter's coach was an Olympic volleyball player on the USA. I mean, and we her club was down in Valley Forge, so we took her
Mm-hmm.
to this very. We drove her down, and my wife and I we take turns driving her down, and it costs us a boatload, and then they fly all over the country and so forth and so on. So you invest tens of thousands of dollars if you add it up, because you just don't do it one year. You do it year after year after year. So then I'm watching Pitt. I'm watching Penn State. Nebraska is one of the top teams in volleyball. Every one of them have foreigners. Pitt has two foreigners on their volleyball team, and the Nebraska has some foreigners. But I'm watching. Then I watch some soccer. Pitt has 10 foreigners, 10 or 11, and Penn State has a bunch of foreigners on their women's soccer team. For God's sake, do you know how many in the state of Pennsylvania alone? Do you know how many girls are killing themselves with their parents for club volleyball, right? And club soccer. I mean, and club for men and women, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they got the audacity. If they got the audacity, Pitt has 10 of them from Africa, Europe, Canada on their women's soccer team, for God's sake. And
Mm-hmm.
now you giving me these numbers, and like I said, thank God I didn't eat this morning. I probably would have threw up. But then, look, this corrupt uh, 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 behavior by the NCAA and by the universities and the coaching staffs has got to stop, Andrew. I mean, to think that that's 25,000 opportunities for those 8 million athletes
Mm-hmm.
that compete in high school just stolen from them, right? And all the sacrifice and all the hard work that these young, beautiful girls and young men put out there is just boy, I got a headache. You know, I had a headache. I had a headache, and I'm still sick to think that they're letting males take women's opportunities in athletics, even in the NFL with cheerleading, getting back to add insult. That good all $60 million he's making. So he makes a decision to let all these hardworking women that are cheerleaders in the NFL, right,
Mm-hmm.
to let men take those jobs of those women in the NFL. That's what $60 million does for an idiot. And an idiot like that goes in and hires a band that is controversial. That's what 60 million. So that's what $60 million does for you. You make terrible decisions, and the same with the NCAA, Andrew. I am shocked, honestly. I've had a hard time since you told me that this morning. That I'm just I don't know what to say. I feel so sad. I want to cry. I feel
And
so
it's
sorry for our young athletes that are trying to make something of themselves, that they're having 25,000 opportunities in an array. You name the sport. I mean, you
mhm.
name the sport, it's happening.
So this is so I told you this story earlier. So I'm at dinner with my friend this weekend, and obviously I've been out of club sports for a while now. So I don't remember it. The last time I played club sports was 15 years ago, 20 years ago now. So like prices have changed,
Man,
inflation, all of
I
that.
didn't know you were 20. I thought you were 21 yourself, man.
I don't look a day over 21. That's the trick, right? You got to look 10 years younger.
You're doing
Um,
good.
so, well, anyway, so I'm talking to him, and he's got a son. He's a soccer player, 7 years old, and he's showing me the videos or whatever, on the phone, showing off his son. We're at dinner, and his kids. He's got like 6 goals in the one game in the league, and then he's playing up with like 8-year-olds, and he's scoring goals, and he's a lefty, all this kind of stuff. So he's really good. Like he's a really good player. Even at 6, 7 years old, you can see he's got talent. And my buddy goes to me. He goes, "Yeah, so I made a little highlight reel of a 6-year-old. It was fun. Put it on Facebook for friends and family to see, all that kind of stuff." And somebody reached out to him from one of the local sports clubs, from one of the local soccer clubs, and they wanted to give him a scholarship at 6 years old, 7 years old.
Sweet.
And he's telling me, he goes, "It's awesome. I mean, listen, if the kid loves soccer. He wants to do it." He's like, as long as he wants to do it, he's all in. My buddy played basketball in college as well, so he understands all this, and he's on the same page as pretty much exactly what we're saying. And he goes, yeah. So he loves it. So absolutely, like, and he says to the coach that's talking to him, he goes, so like, you know, what's it, what's it going to cost? Because he knows it's like a premier, club and everything. And the guy goes, no, no, no cost for you guys, because it's a scholarship and everything. But he's like, it's a $7,000 scholarship, $7,000
Little League
for a
soccer.
six for 6 years old, for 7 years old.
Yeah.
You're playing whatever, eight and under, whatever it is, and you're just sitting there and you're like, okay, let's do some basic math, because he's gonna play on that team through high school. So that's 11 years. 11 years at a minimum cost of $7,000. I'm sure it goes up when you get into high school and everything. So that's $100,000.
Well,
That is like easiest numbers to say. It's $100,000. So then you say like, okay, I'm going to invest $100,000 into my son playing a sport that he loves. Granted, the kid loves it, so like there's no problem there. But if you're a family who's like, I can afford it, but like I can't afford it, like that's $7,000 a year. That's a chunk of change. And now that's pressure. It's pressure on the kid. He's not even in high school yet. If he starts to feel anything, if like mom and dad are like fighting or arguing about money, and he like has that realization of like, oh wow, this actually costs a lot of money, like that's a strain on the family. That's a strain on everything. And then you do all of that, and you can talk to this about your family and your daughters. But if you have 25,000 opportunities that are taken away from you, taken away from kids in our country, and parents that are spending $100,000 over the course of 10 years for sports and for the opportunity to get your kid noticed by these college scouts, that's a lot. That's a lot of effort and a lot of time and a lot of money that's taken away from American families.
Andrew, you're right on. But you and your lovely wife haven't been blessed yet with children.
Mhm.
As a parent, we want to do everything we can. And
Yeah,
knowing you and your wife, you're gonna want to do everything you can for your children. My wife and I, and look at millions and millions of parents in this country. What do we live for? We live for our children, man. You understand? So we
hmm
sacrifice not just the money, Andrew. Then you got to drive to practice every
yeah.
day.
Oh, yeah.
You got to
Travel.
travel when they compete
Oh,
from state to state, town to town, lacrosse. You name the sport,
oh, yeah.
soccer, hockey, wrestling. Man, the amount of time that I invest, I had the greatest wrestlers in the world training my sons. You understand? I was a heavyweight. My sons weren't heavyweights. They were 190 pounders, 215 pounders. So That's a different type of wrestling. So I had the greatest wrestlers. I mean, Johnny Tringe, man, one of the, two-time, big time, Olympic, world, big time wrestler, bro, top guy. I had
Mm-hmm.
all of the best wrestlers and national champions and Olympians besides me working with my sons in wrestling and football the same. I had any chance I got, I always tried to put the best people around my sons and my daughters. You understand? And it's the sacrifice that we all make. And look, it's the National Collegiate Athletic Association, and all of us try to contribute back to our alma maters. You understand? I will not
Mm-hmm.
give Pitt another penny. You understand? And I told them last year when they called me, and I've given Pitt some major money on occasion, to honor
Mm-hmm.
my former football coach, Joe Moore, to honor Bill Fralick, the legendary Bill Fralick, to do things for some of my teammates. Ironhead, and I helped when Ironhead Hayward was struggling. I helped them, but that's what we do because we love we love our those experiences that we got like you're
Mm-hmm.
talking about and I'm talking about. But I'm not doing it anymore. You understand? And for another
Yep.
reason with the University of Pittsburgh, from a pro life perspective, which I am, they're using aborted babies for research at the University of
Mm-hmm.
Pittsburgh. So I'm not going to give them a penny. But that's what you all need to do. I mean, you can stay out of the pro life or non pro life. I'm not sure what you do with the decisions that you make on a day to day, but I can't live with that in my particular perspective. And I'm not contributing to the University of Pittsburgh for a lot of reasons, but I do support the Pittsburgh Wrestling Club. Getting back to clubs, which
Mm-hmm.
helps develop young people in Pittsburgh. They also they with the Beat the Streets, they bring out inner city kids and they try to teach them how to wrestle. And their upper guys are there at the Pittsburgh Wrestling Club. It's a club. But getting
Mm-hmm.
back to the investment that the parents make in their children's futures, and to think that their alumni, that their universities, now them 25,000 scholarships that are being given to foreigners is all. That's why I was trying to tell you guys in California, okay, up in Maine and Boston, down in Florida and Texas, and all the way up here in Pennsylvania and in Minnesota and Ohio. We have to protect the Olympic sports. We have to protect our children, and you all need to speak out against the NCAA and your universities giving out scholarships to anybody other than Americans, okay? Look, we want a great environment and great opportunity for our American children, okay? Not for foreigners, and touching on the foreign show, right? On the foreign field. I watched the track and field world championships this weekend too, right? Numerous athletes competing in the world championships for foreign countries, right? One of the gold medalists goes to Baylor. He's an NCAA champion and he's competing for a foreign country, right? And won a gold medal for a foreign country. Now understand that we're not just hurting our kids with our children's opportunities. God only knows, if you look at the statistics of kids that compete in athletics and don't compete in athletics and where they go in life, they two totally different roads. Athletics and arts are awesome for kids. We want all of our children, as many of them as we can, competing in the athletics and competing in the arts. They go off on a great road and a great path. Do you understand? So
Yeah, absolutely.
those 25,000 athletes are now taking 25,000 opportunities of our children's, right? I mean, my children are all grown up now. But think about that, 25,000 American athletes whose parents struggled and fought and kicked and scratched to get them to where they were at. And when it was time for them to go play hockey at Penn State, they got a hockey goalie who's from one of the Slovakian, Russia, that Eastern Bloc countries, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then if they want to go to Pitt to play volleyball, there's a girl from France and the Netherlands. And then if they want to play soccer at Penn State, there's girls from Europe that are taking their opportunities. If they want to play soccer at Pitt, there's girls from Africa and Europe and Canada taking their positions. And just look, my daughter was a rower at Cornell. There was 5 foreigners on her row team, and on the men's row team there was like 10 foreigners. Do you understand? So it's across the board that this is going on, Andrew, and it's got to stop. It's the NCAA, not the ICAA. It's not the International Collegiate Athletic Association, and it's up to every single one of yous to put your foot down and voice your opinions. It's got to stop. It's got to stop, Andrew.
Money talks. Money talks. That's it. And if you want to see real change, that's how you got to do it. You got to vote with your dollar, and that's the only way that you're ever really gonna see anything change in any aspect of life. And if it's politics, if it's just you're in your community, or if it's on the sporting field, like that's the honest truth of it. So,
look, in closing, Andrew made a great
yep.
point, man. It's your eyes. It's your eyes. You know.
Yep. You can vote. This is just as good as your wallet. Just as good as your wallet.
The scriptures tells us. If your right eye makes you sin, pluck it out, man. Pluck it out, right? By you watching this all go on, by you, and I'm not supporting it. I'm totally against it. Trust me, I'm going to talk with my bishop. I'm going to write a letter to my bishop about that gambling thing. That the church got to change its position on gambling, man. It's a sin. What's going on across our country? Okay, I heard. I called you. You didn't answer. On Friday, I was listening to a Christian station in Bath, New York. It's called Family Life. They must have watched our show, right? They must have watched our show. So there was an announcer on there speaking out against sports betting on one of their news reports. They do a new news report, and he said, "Listen to this: $3 billion in the state of New York and in the state of Pennsylvania were lost by people betting on sports last year alone. $3 billion. Now, our economy is a little bit slow in Pennsylvania and in New York right now. You put $3 billion back into our economy where people are going to restaurants and buying clothing and applying, just your regular consumer goods. The positive multiplier effect on $3 billion is hurting our economies now. People are suffering from it. But the suckers, you gamblers out there, lost $3 billion. And what the Christian announcer was concerned with is they're saying that the kids are getting addicted, Andrew. They must have watched our show. Honest to God. I'm listening to the Christian station and I'm listening. My wife says, why did you have she heard me when I pulled up my driveway. She said, why did you have your radio so loud on? I could hear you. It's a beautiful day. I'm listening to this going, this guy must have watched, Level Playing Field, because that's what we're talking about. Listen.
That's the truth.
Look, we got to stop it. We gotta stop all these evil acts against our children, against our youth, against the young men and women that are out there, man. And we got to get back on the right path, So pray through it, man. Make those sacrifices. Voice your opinion, and just be strong. Be strong.
Awesome. Well, that's another great episode of the Level Playing Field podcast. And check in with us next week to see what we're talking about. You can check us out on Spotify and all the social media channels. We have shorts and clips of the show for you to consume and check everything out. And hope everyone has a great day. All right.